From Centerville Bank Stadium in Pawtucket, Rhode Island, it is the USL Jägermeister Cup tonight in Group 4 as Rhode Island welcomes Hartford Athletic for a second consecutive week. It's presented by Ortho Rhode Island, the exclusive orthopedic partner of RIFC. Alongside Chris Nurse, I'm Sean St. Jacques. Happy to have you with us as we look at the Group 4 standings in the Jägermeister Cup. Rhode Island, at the moment, are in the place that's required to top the group and go on to the next round. Hartford sitting pretty as far as the wild card is concerned. We'll have to see, though, how that'll all play out at the end of the night. Here are the scenarios in Group 4. The winner of the game wins the group, and the other will have to rely on a wild card spot. The key for Rhode Island is that they can also go through as group winners with a draw, regardless of how it plays out in the shootout. So that'll be a key thing that the hosts have in their back pocket. But of course, Chris, everyone is talking about how last match played out a week ago in the league. It was fiery, but it finished with no goals.
Yeah, for a game that finished 0-0, there's definitely a lot to dissect and talk about. This being one of the big chances in the game where Siaha comes up big. It's going to be interesting to see if Rhode Island can step up one step further and put the ball in the back of the net tonight. But there's a lot to look out for, and we'll see Siaha's performance both on and off the pitch today.
Certainly, everyone is talking about the off-the-field performance from last time out. The moment, of course, at full time where he shushed the crowd silent in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. Siaha will have his say potentially again tonight. But of course, in the attack for Rhode Island, J.J. Williams being back is a big key. Yeah, we've seen the statistics of how Rhode Island are generally stronger with Williams than without Williams. He provides, obviously, a big frame as a target man, fantastic in the air, has the ability to draw pressure from the opponents and create space for his teammates. It's going to be interesting to see how they adapt, though, because they play different with the target man than they do when he's out. He's been in and out the team with injuries, but he's available tonight and obviously expected to have a big impact. For Brendan Burke and for Hartford, it's been Mamadou Jang who's been pacing them as far as the goal scoring is concerned. Yeah, and evolving from last week, Hartford weren't fantastic in terms of creating chances or testing the goalkeeper in front of goal in last week's game. And coming up against a Rhode Island team that's very strong and has good depth, being the underdog team, they're going to have to take advantage of the opportunities that they create. So it's going to be really interesting if we see Diang doing this dance again tonight. Well, get your popcorn ready. Part 2 of El Clamico in the Jägermeister Cup with a spot in the knockout stages at stake. It's Rhode Island. It's Hartford. It's next.
Progress. It's what we strive for, what we sacrifice for. It's about putting in the work. Early mornings, late nights, all in the pursuit of something greater. It's what moves us forward, what unites us. Because progress is more than a goal. It's the journey, the people who stand beside us, and the right partner. Centerville Bank, the official bank of Rhode Island FC. Progress on purpose.
You may think the nicest moments happen once you've arrived at your destination. At Breeze, we think they happen all along the way.
Yeah, let me grab that for you.
That was so nice.
Whether you're kicking back in Breeze Ascent or just enjoying time together in family seating, we take creating nice moments seriously, so you're ready for the rest of the journey ahead. When it's all over, the nicest moment might just be planning your next trip. Breeze. Seriously nice.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
It doesn't matter what you ride to work as long as you leave your car behind. Drive less, bike more. With the Drive Less RI app, every green trip counts. Whether you're pedaling to the office or cruising to class, log your bike trips and start earning rewards. Be a climate champion. Bike more, drive less. Download the Drive Less RI app today, because every mile matters. Visit drivelessri.com to get started.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. Sean and Chris back here with you. We'll look at the Ballybet Casino starting lineups. First, for acting coach Dave McKay and Rhode Island.
Yeah, you can see already the depth that Rhode Island have on their bench, but it's the attacking duo of Fusion and Williams that is really going to stand out for me tonight to see if they're able to cause problems and put the ball in the back of Siaha's net.
Cano Smith is suspended for a red card he picked up in the round 3 game against Portland Hearts of Pine. Brennan Burke's 11 looks like this, and yes, Anthony Siaha is in the 11.
As we spoke about, Siaha has come up massive a number of times for Hartford so far this season, and we'll need to continue to do that again tonight. Up top, we labelled Dieng as the player to watch who's going to have to take the few chances that they create. He's going to have to be clinical to really give Hartford a chance of picking up those 3 points.
Well, we talked with Cano Smith, the Rhode Island head coach, in the lead up to this game. He said it's about advancing. It's about moving through to the next round. That should provide enough motivation. But let's be real, there's going to be added extra motivation because of what happened at full time here last week. Hartford are back in the building again tonight in the Jägermeister Cup here at Centerville Bank Stadium. And frankly, we cannot wait to see how the encore plays out. Sean St. Jacques, Chris Nurse, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. Part 2 of El Clamico. And as much as these two sides, these two fans like to debate about who's got the best seafood and things like that, there is beef between these two arch rivals, with the winner winning the group and advancing to the quarterfinals of the Jaeger Cup.
Yeah, and I think we're all hoping that the beef that we see in today's game is going to be a little bit more on-field than off-field, because I think when the highlight becomes Siaha shushing the fans or putting his finger to his lips, it really tells you that there wasn't that much action in the game when that moment becomes the most talked about moment of the fixture. So hopefully there's a little bit more action on the field, a little bit more quality, some goals, and some exciting soccer to get us off our seats.
Rhode Island are in their new kits tonight, the Sport Wave Whites, and Hartford are in their road greens. Rhode Island are going from right to left. We're at Centerville Bank Stadium in Pawtucket.
I think the first 15 minutes will be vital for both teams. If you're Hartford, you're going to want to get the first goal and be able to control the tempo of the game, and potentially maybe sitting back knowing that the only way to advance for yourselves is to pick up all three points. For Rhode Island, you know that just a tie can seal the deal, but nobody ever goes into a game looking for the 1 point. Maybe that's something you look at in the 80th minute, going into the last 10 minutes of the game. Maybe then you may look to protect the point, but I think going into the first 15, they're both looking to get the early goal and go ahead.
Our referee is Brandon Stevis. That's the sound of his whistle, giving Rhode Island a free kick. Well, the health report is provided by the official orthopedic partner and team physicians for RIFC. Go to orthopedicsri.com. No Jack Panayotu for Hartford tonight. Still no Koke Vegas, Zach Harivo, and Grant Stoneman. All, Cano Smith told us, are getting closer. Not available, though, tonight.
Yeah, we know Harivo was a big part of the team's success last season. He did have spells where he was in and out of injury, but there was definitely moments when he was healthy where he had big impacts in the Rhode Island success. So I'm sure he's a player they want to get back on the field sooner rather than later, along with Vegas.
Throw in from Clay Holstead at the edge of the 18-yard box. The first touch for Anthony Siaha. Work for Rhode Island to do there defensively. They clear it through Frank Nadarse. And then Shapiro Thompson wins possession back for Rhode Island. They'll get a throw in on this near side. One that Quizera to be told to bring this back just in front of the Hartford technical area where Brendan Burke is standing at the moment. Lovely touch here for Noah Fuson, J.J. Williams, and then Hartford are able to get it back. And some boos for Anthony Siaha, who gets a touch onto that. Brings us to our keys for success, presented by Ford. And for Rhode Island, Chris, he has something to do with it.
Yeah, and by silencing Siaha, I'm talking about letting the ball do the talking. If you put the ball in the back of the net 3 times, I think you silence him. If he's able to have another game like he did last week, making big saves, keeping clean sheets, then rightfully he's allowed to celebrate, he's allowed to talk, he's allowed to make his noise. So I think for Rhode Island, stamping their authority is all about being dominant in possession of the ball and finishing the chances. Siaha will be silenced.
Just another subplot to this El Clamico rematch, as that's going to be a Hartford free kick. So both teams are struggling in the league at the moment. Hartford are in not quite dire straits because there's still a lot of games left, but they have a lot of work to do if they're going to get back in the race for the top 8. And Rhode Island, who were in the top 8 for so long, have now dipped beneath the playoff line. So having a cup competition to hold on to, and there is, of course, a scenario where both of these teams could go through tonight, but having that could add a lot of extra motivation down the stretch.
I think all of these teams start with 4 trophies they can win at the beginning of the season. You have the Open Cup, you have Jägermeister Cup, you have the regular season champions, and then, of course, you have the playoffs. The game is all about winning it at the end of it, so I'm sure both the staff, the organization, the players are aware of this.
Ooh, early ball in there is deflected. It just goes over the head of J.J. Williams. A couple of dangerous Hartford moves there, but they do clear it away.
For both of these teams, they're both out of the Open Cup. They're both in a position where it's almost impossible for them to be regular season champions. So Jägermeister Cup and the playoffs is their remaining hopes going into the second half of the season of walking away with any kind of silverware. They're both sitting outside the playoff positions right now. However, 1 win, 2 wins would take them up to mid-table, right in the center of the pack of the playoffs. So despite sitting outside the playoff positions right now, they're not far away from it at all. A run of 3 wins on the trot, and they'll be right there in amongst the pack, how tight the league is positioned right now. So I don't think they should get too concerned with being in and out the playoffs. I think they need to focus on going on a run of picking up 3 consistent games, as well as continuing to have success in the Jägermeister Cup as a means to determining whether it's going to be a successful season or unsuccessful season.
Holstead cutting in field for Rhode Island, forced to go all the way back to Karifa Yao for a reset. 4th all-time meeting between these 2 rivals, and Hartford have never beaten Rhode Island. 1 win for Rhode Island last year in the regular season, and then 2 draws, including the 0-0 on CBS last week. Quizera throws it down the line for Fuson. It'll stay with Rhode Island on this near side.
It was definitely interesting to speak with both coaches this week and listen to their stance on things. Coach Brendan Burke definitely positioned Hartford as the underdogs in this fixture, given the investment into Rhode Island, given their stadium, given the fans that they have backing them and the depth of their roster. Whereas Rhode Island, on the other hand, are just in their 2nd season of existence. And Kenneth Smith said, given it's our 2nd year, our expectations as an organization still need to be fairly modest. So it was interesting that both coaches were kind of downplaying themselves a little bit going into this game. But obviously, Hartford, having been in the league a little bit longer, you may put them as the favourites in this contest. But given the success that Rhode Island had in the postseason last year, you'd give them the advantage as being the team with the advantage. So it's very interesting to see the psychological approach that both coaches have taken going into this game, neither getting carried away or being too cocky, so to speak.
Both coaches kind of stressed more of the composure and the poise, particularly with the rivalry seemingly heating up week in and week out these days. Meanwhile, Rhode Island FC would like to recognize their anchor partners, Breeze Airways, Capelli Sports, Centerville Bank, and Ortho Rhode Island for their support on and off the field this season.
I think most definitely when you look at this facility, the depth of the roster for Rhode Island, the infrastructure, from an organizational standpoint, maybe they look like the bigger club. But in terms of longevity, understanding the league, Hartford have been around a little bit longer and should have a little bit more stability and groundwork in place to be the team that's favoured most out of the 2, given they're a rivalry. So Hartford has a longer existence, but Rhode Island have obviously come up pretty big pretty quickly, and even there's a little bit of a fan rivalry that's already kicked in from the antics last week. So a growing rival here, to say the least.
Here is Sebastian Anderson for Hartford, fizzes that across. Dispay and company not able to do too much with it, and Rhode Island will clear it up the other end. J.J. Williams puts some pressure on, and Hartford are able to reset into the middle of their own half.
Yeah, I think one of the strengths of J.J. Williams is his humility and his willingness to work for the team. Some number 9s, you know, they want everybody to work for them, but he really presses from the front. He does a lot of defensive work. He's a good teammate. I think he adds a lot, both on the pitch and off the pitch from a leadership standpoint.
A moment of contention there. Rhode Island thought they had the throw. It's going to be a Hartford Athletic throw on this near side. Anderson will take it. Again, Rhode Island win the group as long as they don't lose the game in 90 minutes. Hartford have to win in order to win the group and get the automatic bid to the next round. Both teams, if they had to finish in second place, would be in a pretty good spot, particularly Rhode Island from a wild card perspective. We don't want to leave it up to chance, that's for sure. That is headed down into the middle. Hartford get a shot away. It was deflected away by Karifa Yao and helped along down this near side towards Fuson. It was a lovely first touch, and was there a push in the back from Joey Farrell? Referee says no.
And of course, there are a few nuances as to who either of these teams may face in the next round should they advance. But generally, if you finish top, you generally get a little bit easier break of who you face in the next round. So I'm sure they're both trying to compete for that #1 position so that they can get potentially an easier draw in the next round. But there are some nuances that don't make it as straightforward as it may seem.
Ooh, Dispay taken out on this near side. And immediately, Brandon Stevis is going to go to his pocket here. Ooh, or is he? Yes, he does go to the pocket.
Yeah,
Noah Fuson's challenge, but what color is the card here?
It's definitely retribution for the free kick that he thought he should have gotten less than a minute earlier when he had his good first touch. Here's a great first touch. It's not nothing drastic, the foul he receives, but this is a little bit over the top. You can see he's nowhere close to getting the ball, hits him from behind, brings him down. The frustration's got the better of him, so he's gone from having a fantastic first touch to now giving away free kick, and I believe on a yellow card in the opening 10 minutes of the game. This kind of feeds back into last week's game. The players have to manage their emotions smartly. The last thing you want to do is be a red card. Obviously, Fusion's a massive player for this team. They're already missing their head coach from the sidelines, given he has a red card suspension. The leaders in and around the group have to stay on the field to be effective in this game. They can't take it for granted.
So Fuson was booked from the free kick. It's in Galena from Anderson. It's fizzed across. It ricochets around. Rhode Island clear it.
Yeah, that's a big let-off there for Rhode Island. And had that gone in the back of the net, Fusion would have been kicking himself about a needless free kick they ended up giving away that led to that opportunity. That's why sometimes you have to get a grip of your emotions, because that one free kick that you're giving away can cost your team big time. Take it from a man who gave away many free kicks, by the way.
Rhode Island is proud to welcome MyRI-TV as a broadcast partner in 2025. RIFC fans can now watch live action regionally on Nessun, locally on MyRI, and stream on ESPN+. Don't miss any of the action this season. First, maybe flashpoint of this Derby rematch. Nothing really happened after the free kick was given. And then a handball appeal comes in. Did it hit off of Farrell's arm? Referee points in the opposite direction and then stops the play again. Well, Brandon Stevis didn't quite make his mind up there. Went initially for Hartford. Rhode Island were incensed. He's changed the decision to a Rhode Island free kick.
Yeah, I think one of the keys to the success of, or the flow of this game, is going to be how the match officials are able to control things. Obviously, they have context from last week's matchup. They know there's going to be certain energies and certain nuances that they're going to have to be on top of. That, for me, is a clear handball. There's certain things that they're going to have to be on top of to make sure things don't get out of hand.
Well, Brandon Stevis eventually gets the decision correct here. It did clearly come off of Farrell's arm. And it's a Rhode Island free kick in a promising position here early on. Taken by Mark Ibarra. And it's going to be a free header from J.J. Williams back across. And one that the Rhode Island players queuing up could do nothing with. It was a bullet header from Williams, but the attack fizzles out.
It's fantastic delivery, and it's a great position from Williams. Schoolboy defending that nobody in a green shirt decided to pick up the best header on the ball and left Williams all alone to head that back across goal. But really and truthfully, that should be a goal. His teammates should have been anticipating where the ball was going to come across the face of goal. It's definitely something that they've worked on in practice before Just nobody timed their runs good enough to finish the play.
Again, the Rhode Island fans serenade Siaha as he kicks the ball away. Quizera down the line, and Amos Shapiro-Thompson did not keep that in play. It's going to be a Hartford throw.
And as we spoke about, we don't want to see the tenacity or the intensity taken out of the game, but the referee is going to probably have to be a little bit more on top of free kicks and dissent than he would be normally, given the context from last week's fixture. He's probably going to have to be a little bit tighter on things to make sure that it doesn't get out of hand.
Holstead over the top. It was cut out and cleared by Hartford. No, Darce wins the header for Rhode Island. Bacharach tries to follow up. Shapiro-Thompson feeds it for Fuson. Up ahead for J.J. Williams. Williams tries his luck. And Siaha makes a comfortable stop.
It's actually a decent effort there from Williams. He's in a very acute angle, completely away from frame, and he manages to get a decent strike on goal and force Siaha into a save. He's got no business scoring from this angle, but he actually has a decent job of testing Siaha. I thought he was going to be a little bit more patient, allow him to get support up, get teammates into the box, but he tries to catch Siaha off guard with the early strike, and it wasn't a bad effort at all.
Fans thought there was a handball in there, and the referee agrees. It is going to be another Rhode Island free kick. Well, the New England laborers are training the workforce of today. That'll build our tomorrow. The state-of-the-art training facilities across Rhode Island, Massachusetts, and Connecticut will be equipped with classroom and job site knowledge to start a rewarding career in the construction industry. Build your future with the union that built the stadium here at Tidewater Landing, home of RIFC, as the referee spots another infraction, and it's another Rhode Island free kick. Of course, the third team that we should mention is in the mix, of course, in this group, is, of course, Detroit City, who, if they win tonight, could potentially knock Hartford out. If Hartford do not win here in Rhode Island, so that is another big thing we'll be keeping an eye on. Detroit are playing Westchester of USL League One as we speak. Ibarra. And it's another central header. Oh, but there was a foul. Maybe an over-the-back moment there from J.J. Williams, and the attack fizzles out.
Williams, such an important target.
Ooh, there's a possible head injury here. Collision as Quizera did get the ball afterwards, but clearly the medical staff has to come on and take a look.
For me, the concussion protocols for players is always interesting, because if you're the player, you break a limb, you don't really want to come off the pitch. So when you go through the concussion protocols, sometimes players can be a little bit dishonest in reporting their symptoms. And it's really important for the athletic trainers to assess them properly and see if they're at risk of further injury. You see both players here grabbing their heads after the collision, so something that the athletic trainers have to be very mindful about. We've seen the long-term dangers of not taking care of concussion injuries properly in the past.
Yeah, it was Mabika and Jang who got the worst of that. They collided with each other. And again, those are the live standings. Here in the Jaeger Cup in Group 4, Detroit's best chance will be to win in 90 minutes against Westchester, who are already eliminated, and then Rhode Island to beat Hartford here. That would knock Hartford out, put Detroit on 8 points, which potentially could be enough to advance as one of the 2 wildcard teams, but I have to be very frank with you, there's so many scenarios that there is a chance that that might not be enough, but that's Detroit's best chance to usurp Hartford for that second place spot.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Hartford approach this. Really and truthfully for Hartford, this is a cup final for them. Are they expected to make the playoffs? Maybe. Are they expected to win the playoffs? Probably not. But knowing that tonight their destiny is in their own hands if they advance, they've really got to go out and give it everything they got. If they lose this game, and as you mentioned, Detroit win, they won't be advancing. So they really have to take matters into their own hands and take advantage of the ball on the field, finish their chances, be very resolute defensively to have a chance of being successful and advancing to the next round.
Jang with a lovely touch. The cross into the middle is handled by Jackson Lee. Of course, the other part of what you said there, Chris, is that Hartford actually had a chance to eliminate Detroit in the last round of the Jaeger Cup. Detroit went to Hartford, and Hartford had a 2-0 lead for a decent chunk of that game. They were ahead for a while. Detroit came back. They got a 90th minute equalizer from Matt Sheldon that sent it to penalties, and Detroit won those penalties. That's the only reason they're still alive in this game, in these games, I should say, tonight. As Holstead plays that into the middle, did it come off a Hartford arm? Referee says no. The follow-up is skied over the top.
All ping-ponging around inside the box, but if there's one thing you notice about Siaha, he's a confident guy. He has a strong mentality, and he comes up big in big moments. Yes, there could be an argument, I think, being extremely harsh if that was given as a penalty kick. I think play on was the right decision in that situation.
Of course, a reminder that there's no VAR, so the on-field decisions are final. Quisera to take the throw. Goes down the line for Fuson, who tried to play it infield for Williams. Dees Pay clears it for Hartford. Jang let it run initially, and it's played further down this near side. And then it's a poor touch out of play. Jang miscontrols it. Well, if you're looking for help on how to pay for college, look no further than RISLA. Been helping students and families for decades. Go to risla.com now to find out more. Big tug on the shirt there. Foul and a Rhode Island free kick. And there is going to be a yellow card as well for Beverly Makangila.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the referee even hesitated. There's so much time in between when he blows the whistle to give the free kick into when he drastically gives out the yellow card. And this is such poor defending. It stops the play from continuing or having any flow. It frustrates me when players do that. There's one thing making a tactical foul, and there's just poor defending. I think that was definitely a demonstration of the latter.
So Makangila's in the book for Hartford. Fuson's in the book for Rhode Island. And the host can send some more numbers forward here. Ibarra's been on set pieces for Rhode Island tonight. He's on this one as well. Flips it towards the edge of the area, and immediately the assistant's flag goes up for a foul away from the play. And it's a Hartford free kick, and it's a Rhode Island missed opportunity.
Yeah, when you have J.J. Williams up there, the last thing you want to do is be giving away cheap free kicks. He wins maybe 80% of the aerial duels that he comes up against. If the ball's delivered with good quality, all you have to do is focus on winning that second ball.
Could be a chance for Hartford here on the turn, but it's a poor squared ball. Still opportunity for Hartford Athletic to pick up the pieces here on this near side. Samadia helped out initially. It's won back by Fuson for Rhode Island. And then a foul and a free kick allows Rhode Island to keep the ball here. And we're keeping an eye on Detroit against Westchester in Hamtramck. It is 0-0. Game is also on ESPN Plus. They're in the 21st minute.
And of course, once we get to halftime, I'm sure all four of these teams are going to know what's the score in the parallel game. So the halftime outlook could completely change the look of things. Hartford know they're still in a chance. Naturally, they're going to try and turn it up a gear in the second half. So both of these games going simultaneously will have implications. I
actually should say the Detroit-Westchester game is on ESPN2. For those that want to tune in, maybe have multiple screens. You have the streaming up and national TV game as well. Oh, and there's our first flashpoint here. After the foul was given, a push between Quizera and Anderson, although it was Anderson doing the pushing.
Yeah, and as we've spoken about, there's more for Hartford to lose than there is for Rhode Island. So the emotions have to be managed smart by Hartford, probably a little bit even more caution. We've seen in today's game, you lift your hands in that kind of nature, the referee can very easily go to his back pocket and give you a red card. So you have to be very cautious in those moments not to get a trivial red card for next to nothing. I think he's actually very fortunate that the referee's actually taking the right approach and talking and trying to calm things down here, because it'd be really easy for him to just apply the law, go into his booker and give him a yellow or red card for this. We've seen cards given for less.
Anderson took exception to the fact that Quizera wouldn't put and pull his boot out. And of course the shove, as we all know, the secondary action tends to be punished more than the initial.
And there was a time when shoving wasn't even contemplated as being a yellow card. You could shove or retaliate in a mild fashion and you know there's not going to be a great repercussion. Now, the second you lift your hands, you know that there's more than likely going to be a repercussion for doing so. So you really have to think twice in those moments. It's very hard because of the emotion, the intensity, but you really have to try and control yourself because you can leave your team at a huge disadvantage. We spoke, it's all or nothing for Hartford today. They either pick up all 3 points or they leave themselves in a situation where they're relying on others to provide the opportunity for them to advance.
Again, some of the animosity stems back from some of the, as Anthony Siaha put it earlier this week, the talking back and forth between the two organizations, and that's why he felt the need to shush the crowd here last week, because there was talk that Rhode Island might put up a bunch of goals, they would take Hartford out. They didn't score any goals, and Anthony Siaha rubbed it in afterwards, of course.
And I actually don't have much. Soccer players aren't choir boys. I think we have to recognize that, acknowledge that, and enjoy that part about it. If we were watching a team of 22 choir boys, I'm not sure the game would be entertaining as we do. Siaha is Siaha, and you have to allow him to have his own character. Some people agree with it, some will disagree with it. Has it become entertaining? Is it a talking point? 100% yes. Is it something that his coach probably encourages?
Hartford chance here. Rhode Island get a critical header on that. No, Darce defensively does the job, and Quizera will run out of room on this near side.
It's probably not something that his coach encourages, but he probably still allows him to be his own person in character. Siaha seems like a player that needs to be on the edge. He needs that psychological motive. He needs that extra pressure on him to perform to his maximum. And he's able to meet up. He's able to match his works with his performances. So there's definitely some psychology in terms of how he prepares himself for games, what keeps him on the edge, what keeps him focused, that's tied into his response or some of the talking that players do in between games. And I don't think that we should completely try to eradicate or discourage it. I think there's a fine line in taking it too far. But I generally don't see too much of an issue.
To be fair, Cano Smith said some of it's good for the rivalry, but did call some of it nonsense as well in the same breath. This is a challenge there, and there's going to be another yellow card handed out as well. Oh, and Makangela's already been booked. He's off. Beverly Makangela for a second yellow card is sent off here in the 28th minute, and Hartford are down to 10.
A couple of the Rhode Island players here just killing him with a kiss. But as we spoke about, the first yellow card was so frustrating and jovial. For sure, that's a yellow card in itself. But he put himself in that situation with the first one, where he just runs by poor defense. In fact, this is 2 occasions of poor defending that's cost him 2 yellow cards and really makes things tough for Hartford now. Detroit will be looking at this and licking their lips, knowing they need to go full throttle now for Hartford. It's where do they go from here? To pick up 3 points is going to be extremely tough.
We were talking a little bit off air, Chris, about who's going to keep their poise, who's going to be locked in this game. And clearly Beverly Makangela was a step behind on 2 challenges and is sent packing and puts Hartford's backs firmly against the wall here.
I wouldn't even say a step behind. I say the first one where he just pulls the jersey is a really bad decision. And sometimes instances like that, I've seen it. It starts in training sessions. If that stuff isn't clamped down in training sessions and made unacceptable, players naturally carry it into games. And they do the same nonsense in games that they've got the habit of doing in training. I think that's where it starts from that instance. The second one is just a poorly timed tackle, poor timed decision. And that's evidently the one that's got him having an early shower in a massive game for Hartford, as we spoke about.
Well, it's a Chick-fil-A of Attleboro corner. If Rhode Island scores from a home corner this season, you go to a Chick-fil-A Attleboro location for a free chicken sandwich. Has not happened yet, by the way, this season. Ibarra to take the set piece for Rhode Island against 10-man Hartford. Ibarra's ball in, bodies flying here, and what a save. Siaha. A majestic diving save to keep Hartford on terms.
All sorts going in the box. You got Siaha making diving saves. There's Williams down with 2 Hartford players around him. 1 Hartford player is still down rolling and yet to receive any attention. I'm not sure if the referee is even aware that seems to be hurt on the floor there. JJ Williams, the tank. You don't want to be on the receiving end of him running into you. You're definitely going to feel it.
3 players went flying to the ground. Ibarra is actually coming off to this near side in need of some assistance. There's still a Hartford player down inside the penalty area. It's led to a bit of an impromptu hydro break here.
Yeah, a little bit of a erratic first 30 minutes, to say the least. Neither team really having the opportunity to settle down and play quality soccer as yet. Siaha again coming out of a big moment here, despite a number of things happening inside the 18-yard box. The ball finds its way into those safe hands.
Looks like it was Hugo Bacharach, who hasn't had a ton of time yet with this Rhode Island group, but played well last week and actually impressed Conno Smith quite a bit with some of the things that he could do. And so you don't really know what you can get out of a player until you get them in your setup and they get minutes on the board. And came away not only happy with JJ Williams getting back into the mix, but Hugo Bacharach as well. Again, there's a look at the table. If this result were to hold, Rhode Island would win the group. Of course, it would go to a shootout, but that would not matter as far as first or second. Hartford could then get an additional point from the shootout, which could be very helpful for them in getting second place and getting one of the 2 wild card spots. That's another reason why Detroit will be keeping an eye regardless of how this game plays out. The best Detroit can do is get 8 points. Obviously, Hartford can win the group, but if Hartford win the game and Rhode Island slides into second, Detroit cannot catch Rhode Island, who are already on 9 points. And at the moment, Detroit still have to get a goal on the board themselves over on ESPN2. Just some of the scenarios we'll be keeping an eye on in this 3-team race.
Which is obviously a little harder for Hartford, being down to 10 men completely unnecessarily.
Getting to the game is easy with RIPTA's free game day bus service. Buses loop 8 to 10 minutes between Pawtucket Central Falls Transit Center, Centerville Bank Stadium, and the stadium's reserved parking lots. For a full list of stops, go to ripta.com/RIFC. Back to live action with Hartford, booting it down up Rhode Island's end here. On this near side, another coming together. It's a foul and a Rhode Island free kick. Challenge was from Jonathan Jimenez.
Game's been very much stop, stop over the past 7 or 8 minutes. Just neither team being able to find momentum and rhythm in their style of play, and obviously Rhode Island having the man advantage, which doesn't always, you'd like to think it does always lead to an increase in possession, but that's not always the case. They've got to move the ball quickly, they've got to find where they have the overload and the numerical advantage, and then they have to create chances and make those chances count. That hasn't necessarily been displayed with the man advantage or without the man advantage so far in the opening 30 minutes of this game from either team.
Oh, Mabika, misplaced pass. And then there was a coming together there between Fuson and Jimenez. Brandon Burke wanted a foul. Play continues.
You're really looking for Ibarra or Bacharach or Hairston, any of the central midfielders to really take responsibility for dictating and governing the game, whether that be slowing down the tempo of play, speeding up the tempo of play, recycling the ball or switching the point of attack. I think it's just the game's missing that player in the middle of the park who's the engine and the brain dictating what happens with the ball.
Emmanuel Samadia picks up a foul here. Another Rhode Island free kick. About 10 minutes and stoppages left in the half.
Yeah, and free kicks in and around your 18-yard box is the last thing you want to give away against Rhode Island. We speak about Williams' area ability, but Fuson is also no slouch when it comes to getting up for headers or scoring from aerial deliveries into the box. A fantastic opportunity here for Rhode Island.
Again, Ibarra to deliver here. A little bit of infighting there on the edge of the 6-yard box. Amounts to nothing, and it's cleared away towards Holstead.
Yeah, not the best delivery there from Ibarra. You have Williams and Fusion, who are both 6 foot and above, and you deliver the ball into the box at knee height, and it's cleared away from danger.
Quizera. Williams for Fuson. Quizera comes up to help and then plays it through 2 defenders, but Fuson could not get there. And Hartford will boot it clear.
Whenever I watch Rhode Island, I always think the higher Quizera is able to get in the game, whether it's being him playing as a winger or switching the point of attack and allowing him to be high up in the attacking third, is when they always look their best. Such a dangerous player on that left hand side of the field, whether it be his ability to drive at players or deliver driven balls into the box. I think he's always been one of the key players on this left hand side in their most successful games.
One back by Rhode Island for a split second. Bacharach doing well. In the end, Hartford emerged with possession. Samadia up ahead. Hartford might get an opportunity here, even with a man disadvantage, I should say. Jang was the target, but the cross was cut out by Jackson Lee. And now Frank Nodarse is down behind the play for Rhode Island. And that will bring the game to a halt. Again, Hartford, for those just joining us, are down to 10. Beverly Makangila with 2 yellow cards in this first half. And then after this moment, Ingalina trying to find Jang. We saw, Nodarse made the substitution signal right away.
Yeah, it looks like he grabs his hamstring there. You can see him immediately. Players know, especially if they pulled it before, you can't run your hamstring off if you feel a strain. It's going to be a good 2 or 3 weeks probably till we see him back out there for Rhode Island.
Well, Nodarse is laying on his back inside the 6-yard box at the moment. Some of the Hartford players, some of the Rhode Island players have gotten some refreshments. Another good crowd here in Pawtucket.
These stoppages actually play into Hartford's hands a little bit. It allows the 10 players who are obviously working a little bit harder, being a man down, to get recovery, to get regrouped. Obviously, they're trying to get to half-time, which is probably still a good 20 minutes away, given the number of stoppages we have. I don't think we're going to be stopping in 8 minutes. They're trying to get to half-time 0-0 so that Brendan Burke can regroup, strategize how they're going to go about attacking the second half. And we've spoken that they need to attack it. It's not a game that they can just throw in the towel or not go after the 3 points. We've spoken about the scenarios with Detroit just behind them. And obviously, they still have their aspirations potentially to finish top themselves, so it's going to be interesting to see how they approach the second half. But we haven't necessarily seen that next gear hit from Rhode Island since they've been able to be playing with an additional man on the field. It's kind of been much more of the same as it was when it was still 11 versus 11. So it's going to be interesting to see how Cano Smith also adapts at halftime, whether he's still able to provide instructions or not, given that he's still suspended. I'm sure he's watching very, very closely and interacting with somebody who's calling the shots for him tonight.
Well, that is indeed going to be the end of the night for Frank Nodarce, and Rio Hope Gund will come on to take his place. And Rhode Island and their fans will hope that it's not too serious, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Time for a Providence College School Business substitution for your Rhode Island FC. Entering the matches, number 14, Rio.
Well, Atlantic Beverage with their tap rooms and brewery locations in Waltham, Boston, right next to Fenway Park, and coming soon to Arsenal Yards in Watertown. Raise a glass of Cloud Candy and cheers to the many moments ahead. Sean St. Jacques, Chris Nurse, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. Beverly Macangila sending off for Hartford. It's been the biggest moment of the El Clamico rematch so far tonight. Now Farrell is down in a heap here for Hartford. As the whistle goes, it's continued, as you rightly said, Chris, to be stop-start throughout this first half.
And it's smart here from Williams. He gave away the free kick, but he goes and picks him up off the floor, plays smart with the referee, uses his body really well here, and whether he wins the free kick or doesn't, just becomes a big nuisance for defenders and really difficult to play up against, whether he's in possession of the ball or whether you're competing for headers or 50-50s. His big frame, the way he's using himself, makes it really intimidating for defenders. He's a real handful for Farrell, for Precious, and for also for Dispay in today's game.
Siaha sends it ahead. Rhode Island win the first header. Hartford with a chance to still move this ahead. Down the far side looking for Engalina. Hope Gund pops it high into the air. Engalina wins the header. Keeps Hartford moving in the right direction here. Sama Diaz cross into the middle looking for Jang, who miscues it. Engalina looks to follow up. Shapiro Thompson gets in the way. Jimenez goes down. Hartford free kick.
Really dangerous area here. And the team that's down by a man has a real legitimate opportunity to get themselves a strong shot on target. Good possession in and around the box. They do well to keep play active. Feels the contact. Maybe didn't have to go down, but it's smart to take the contact and get free kick in that area.
Rio Hope Gund is actually telling Brandon Stevens to look at the video board inside of Centerville Bank Stadium, as if to say there wasn't enough contact, if any.
Yeah, and I don't think the referees changed their decision based upon looking at the video board either. So, again, it's a matter of focusing your attention, impacting the things that you're actually capable of impacting, especially just coming into the game. Focus on not giving away free kicks in dangerous areas and being a little more proactive in defensive responsibilities, rather than talking to the referees about things that aren't going to change the decision.
Jackson Lee making sure that the Rhode Island wall is well positioned here. Samaria, Engalina, and Dispay was over it. He'll walk away from it here. 5 men in the Rhode Island wall. It will be Emmanuel Zamaria, and he goes around the wall, but Jackson Lee makes the stop.
Yeah, Jackson Lee positioned perfectly. Didn't really need to step too much to the right or the left. The ball safely went in between his gloves.
Ibarra up ahead. Played to this near side, Ame Mabika.
It's interesting because it looks like almost like a 5-3-1 formation that Hartford have gone into since going down a man. It definitely doesn't resemble the more 4-4-1 that people would normally drop into when a players get sent off. They still have wide players pushing higher to support the end.
Ibarra. Gets it back from Shapiro Thompson. Finds Jojea Quizera on the near side. And Quizera will be forced to settle for a throw that's taken quickly. Mabika up ahead. This is Bacharach. Rio Hope Gund for Clay Holstead. Holstead cutting it onto his left and lets the shot go. Deflected away, back to Holstead, who then was swiftly dispossessed. A chance in Galena, strides past a challenge. Jang through the middle. And Galena at times can be at his best in moments like this, but he's quickly doubled up. And Karifa Yao and Rio Hope Gunn swarm him and take him off the ball.
You have to give him Galena. Yes, he loses position in the end, but he holds on to the ball for 15, 20 seconds, waiting for somebody to get up to support him so he can keep possession of the ball, and he just doesn't get any good support. So evidently, Rhode Island are able to get 2-3 players surround him and win possession of the ball, but he does such a good job in the first place to get onto the pass, to protect the ball. Hartford just don't do a good job of getting bodies up to support him.
J.J. Williams forced to settle for a throw-in on this near side. We approach first half stoppage time.
Rhode Island just have to do a better job of being a little bit more patient in their attack. They have the extra man. They just have to keep the ball in the attacking third a little bit longer than they are right now, a little bit more patience in their build-up. Hartford, as we spoke about, have almost dropped into a 5-3-1, which makes it really difficult to play around the outsides of them because they have 5 at the back, but there is space in the middle.
Quizera's ball in! And the header nowhere near the target in the end. More promising build-up, but Ibarra sends it well wide.
There's Quizera again in those wide areas high up the field, showing that beautiful left foot he has in his ability to take players on in 1v1 situations. Unfortunately, the ball was just a little bit behind Ibarra. He did well to connect with it, but just unable to guide it on frame. But Quizera again starting to show his magic moments on the left-hand side.
We're into 5 added minutes. We tell you there's no job too big for Norfolk Power Equipment, New England's premier Kubota dealer. Norfolk Power Equipment is a proud sponsor of RIFC. Come down today and get the job done with Norfolk Power. More boos for Anthony Siaha. He's done his job so far tonight.
And I think he's a guy that thrives off that pressure. I think the more you boo him, the bigger his performance, the more he responds to that kind of energy.
He said as much in media availability earlier this week. Said he's even more motivated now to go back to Rhode Island, and said hopefully this time get the win instead of having to settle for the draw. He said the biggest thing is that we really hope as a team that we keep Rhode Island off the score sheet. And they've done that so far again tonight. Galena with an early ball in. Holsted's header away allows Hartford to keep the attack moving here.
And Hartford themselves have been no slouch this season in terms of chances created. Where they have been slouching in terms of chances converted. So they're able to create chances, but they haven't been fantastic at converting those chances. So that we know that there's going to be opportunities for Hartford to score if Rhode Island really don't take dominance of the possession, creating their chances and converting their chances. We know that Hartford have had no problems in creating goal-scoring opportunities so far this season. So it's really a delicate situation that I think Kenneth Smith is going to want his team to take responsibility of pretty quickly, is how they utilize the man advantage that they have right now.
Corner for Hartford, Anderson to take. Still 3 minutes at a minimum left in the half. 10 men of Hartford on the front foot. It's going to be flicked on by Farrell, and the overhead kick is in! T.J. Prentice silences Pawtucket with an extraordinary finish. And the 10 men of Hartford have the lead in the derby. How about that? It's an El Clamico cracker. What a finish.
Siaha wasted no time to run down the field and celebrate with his teammates. But we spoke about Hartford's ability to create goal-scoring opportunities, and what a finish from Precious here. Ball slightly behind him, adjusts his feet, finds a way to guide it on target, and it's in the back of the net past Lee. And the team that has 10 men are going into, well, potentially going into half-time. Still a couple minutes to go with a 1-goal lead. We spoke about Hartford having to take the ball by the horns in today's game, take things into their own hands, and they've definitely done that going into half-time.
That is T.J. Prestice's first Jaeger Cup goal, his second in all competitions this season. And it's the traveling Hartford supporters who are in ecstasy here. 10 men, no problem. They lead.
Siaha ran the full length of the field there to celebrate with his teammates.
Oh, it's a miscued clearance here. Fuson couldn't turn onto it.
And sometimes those moments become big catalysts for success for the remainder of the year. A moment when your backs are against the wall, where the odds are against you, and you find a way to get the go-ahead goal, and now everybody knows they got to dig in that little bit harder now to protect their lead.
Remember, now in the live table, Hartford would win the group as that challenge comes in from Shapiro Thompson. By the way, it's also a goal that could potentially eliminate Detroit as well. So not good news for Les Rouges at the moment either, as Anderson is slow to get up.
For Rhode Island, of course, the halftime talk has to be focused on, specifically focused on the game and where do we go forward from here, what have we done wrong, how do we get better, what do we adjust to do better in the second half. But I think at some point in there has to be an accountability moment for the players. You're a man up on the field, you're at home stadium in front of your home fans, whether you've been in existence for 2 months or 2 years, you have to take some responsibility for what's happening on the field. Right now, you're coming into a cup competition game where you want to finish number 1. You're a goal down in front of your home fans to the opponents who have just 10 men. And of course, the goalkeeper of those opponents was taunting your fans, taunting your team just last week. How do you respond in today's game?
Samaria down this near side. He runs out of room. And that will be a goal kick. It'll also be the end of the half here in Pawtucket. Well, Hartford went down to 10 men midway through the first half. Beverly Makangila sent off. Hasn't mattered. Hartford showing their heart. And TJ Prestis has the underdogs ahead. We will see how it materializes in the second half. 10 men, no problem. At least for Hartford so far. They lead TJ Prestis with an excellent finish. And Rhode Island have their work cut out for them in the second half. We'll have more coming up at the break in the USL Jägermeister Cup. El Clamico living up to the billing yet again.
Progress. It's what we strive for, what we sacrifice for. It's about putting in the work. Early mornings, late nights, all in the pursuit of something greater. It's what moves us forward, what unites us. Because progress is more than a goal. It's the journey, the people who stand beside us, and the right partner. Centerville Bank, the official bank of Rhode Island FC. Progress on purpose.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
You may think the nicest moments happen once you've arrived at your destination. At Breeze, we think they happen all along the way.
Yeah, let me grab that for you.
That was so nice.
Whether you're kicking back in Breeze Ascent or just enjoying time together in family seating, we take creating nice moments seriously, so you're ready for the rest of the journey ahead. When it's all over, the nicest moment might just be planning your next trip. Breeze. Seriously nice.
It doesn't matter what you ride to work as long as you leave your car behind. Drive less, bike more. With the Drive Less RI app, every green trip counts. Whether you're pedaling to the office or cruising to class, log your bike trips and start earning rewards. Be a climate champion. Bike more, drive less. Download the Drive Less RI app today, because every mile matters. Visit drivelessri.com to get started.
Halftime here in Rhode Island in the Jägermeister Cup. El Clamico Part 2 living up to the billing. It's the 10 men of Hartford who have the lead over Rhode Island. And of course, we'll have plenty more to come with the second half in just a moment. But first, we take a look at the USL on the world stage.
The 2025 soccer summer has provided big moments on big stages.
and the USL has played a major role. June's CONCACAF Gold Cup included a dozen current players from USL clubs, 9 from the championship, 3 from League One. 7 of those players logged a total of more than 1,000 minutes. Las Vegas Lights' Edison Azcona scored a goal for the Dominican Republic, and the player that grabbed the spotlight was Guatemala's Rubio Rubin. The Charleston Battery forward scored and assisted a goal in a must-win match against Guadalupe, but Rubin was not finished. A perfect header in Guatemala's quarterfinal match against favored Canada set up a penalty kick shootout upset. League One's presence was also felt in the Gold Cup. Portland Hearts of Pine's Natty James played more than 120 minutes for Trinidad and Tobago. And it's these kinds of numbers that helped Rubio Rubin decide to return to USL.
Over the years, this league has only gotten more competitive. That creates an environment where, national teams, especially in CONCACAF, call players, playing in this league.
In September, Rubin and Guatemala begin their final push to qualify for the 2026 World Cup. 9 more of those USL Gold Cup players are hoping for that phone call, itching to play as many minutes as possible.
That's something that is spoken about in the national team always with the head coaches. If you're scoring goals and you're assisting, helping your team, it's going to help you with the national team.
This week on USL All Access, El Clamico delivers. We relive the sights, the sounds, and the backdrop of the great arena that was Centerville Bank Stadium in Pawtucket for our inaugural CBS game on site. But now we turn the page. The rest of the week is all about Jaeger Cup. 24 different teams alive in this interleague competition. We'll break it down for you.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. 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 What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Prinks Tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks Tires will be there for the long haul.
3 ice-cold Jägermeister shots, please. Those look warm.
Serve it cold or don't serve it at all. Jägermeister. Damn, that's cold.
3 up top and not 2. Take a 2-1 Hartford.
Hands home at the back post. The Kings of Chaos strike again.
Rhode Island, are you ready? Rhode Island FC's brand new home, Centerville Bank Stadium, is waiting for you. Don't miss out on any of the action this season, as the Ocean State's very own look to defend their Eastern Conference title. Tickets are available now, starting as low as $16.36 per game. Scan the QR code to secure your seat today.
Halftime in the USL Jägermeister Cup. It is Rhode Island 0 and the 10 men of Hartford Athletic 1. And El Clamico Part 2 with a spot, possibly 2 spots in the next round of the Jaeger Cup up for grabs. As these fans are the winners of the seriously nice seat upgrade, courtesy of Breeze Airways. Each match Breeze Airways upgrades lucky fans to a premium matchday experience. Breeze Airways is a proud partner of Rhode Island FC. Sean St. Jacques, Chris Nurse, our entire crew, happy to have you with us here on the final night of group stage play in the Jaeger Cup. And we look at news and notes from around not just the Jaeger Cup, but the league as well. And of course, after the draw on CBS Sports Golazo, 6 group winners go through those 2 wild card spots. And again, one team from Group 4 could take up one of those wild card spots. We'll have to wait and see how all that plays out. Charlotte, Forward Madison, and Greenville, all from League One, all still have a chance of progressing as well tonight. And of course, Orange County's own Kyle Scott getting transferred to Crawley Town, who've been after him for a couple of years. USL League Two, they finally got their man from OCSC. A little bit of a deeper dive into the quarterfinal matchups. And Chris, you made a really good point earlier. First place could potentially give you an easier pathway into the next round, but that depends on a few factors.
Yeah, there's a few nuances that can take place, and we'll see those once we're into the final matchups and everybody's qualified. But the main one tonight is that Detroit could find themselves into the top 2, and at the moment, Hartford would actually finish as number 1.
We'll see if that holds up at the end of the night. Hartford and Rhode Island are that way at the moment. And again, another big moment from the other game. Detroit have gotten the lead going into the half, so they've set themselves up to potentially take that second spot away if Hartford don't win. But of course, Hartford have the lead. The other Group 4 game from earlier in the week, unfortunately, didn't have a ton of impact on the table. It was a great game, though. Portland 2, Pittsburgh 2. Portland Hearts of Pine did have a solid Jaeger Cup campaign as a whole, winning on penalties at Bob Lilly's Hounds' expense. We've got a really good second half coming up in El Clamico between Rhode Island and Hartford. We'll have the highlights, the stats, and the second 45 coming right up after the break.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation: you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
It doesn't matter what you ride to work as long as you leave your car behind. Drive less, bike more. With the Drive Less RI app, every green trip counts. Whether you're pedaling to the office or cruising to class, log your bike trips and start earning rewards. Be a climate champion. Bike more, drive less. Download the Drive Less RI app today, because every mile matters. Visit drivelessri.com to get started.
You may think the nicest moments happen once you've arrived at your destination. At Breeze, we think they happen all along the way.
Yeah, let me grab that for you.
That was so nice.
Whether you're kicking back in Breeze Ascent or just enjoying time together in family seating, we take creating nice moments seriously, so you're ready for the rest of the journey ahead. When it's all over, the nicest moment might just be planning your next trip. Breeze. Seriously nice.
Progress. It's what we strive for, what we sacrifice for. It's about putting in the work. Early mornings, late nights, all in the pursuit of something greater. It's what moves us forward, what unites us. Because progress is more than a goal. It's the journey, the people who stand beside us, and the right partner. Centerville Bank, the official bank of Rhode Island FC. Progress on purpose.
Jägermeister is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the USL Jägermeister Cup. Take a shot at glory and celebrate the magic of this exciting tournament all year long. Please drink responsibly. Sean and Chris back here with you. We look through the Cox Business first half highlights in El Clamico, and we begin with Rhode Island on the attack.
Yeah, this was a really good strike here from Williams, an acute angle, one where he probably not expected to score, but he tries to catch Siaha unaware there. It's a good strike on goal in the end.
And jump ahead to, again, Rhode Island winning the ball back and trying to make something happen, but then Beverly Makangila with a misstep.
Yeah, really poor decision, really poorly timed tackle, and compounding on top of the cheap yellow card that he was given a few moments earlier. heads for an early shower after being given a red card in the 27th minute of the game.
And we felt that from that point on, Macangila sent off, Hartford down to 10. Could Rhode Island go on and really take the game by the scruff of the neck? Well, Hartford were the ones that did that.
Really good positioning here from Lee. Dangerous free kick on the edge of the box, but he made it look fairly easy.
And then the moment from the corner.
Hartford haven't struggled to create opportunities this year, but they struggle converting. But on this occasion, Precious makes no mistake with the acrobatic bicycle kick on the top of the 6-yard box to give his team a 1-0 lead despite being down a man.
That's where we stand at the moment. Down a man, but up a goal. And as we look at how the table looks now, Hartford would win the group if it stays like this. Detroit would be eliminated regardless of what happens in their game against Westchester. Again, these are live. These are not finalized. There's still a big second half to go in our game and in that game on ESPN2 between Detroit and Westchester as well. So Hartford are ahead, Detroit are ahead, but it might not matter. The scoreline stays like this. And Chris, with Rhode Island up a man but down a goal, what are you looking to see from the hosts in the second half?
They have to play at a quicker speed. They have to get the ball into areas where they can create an overload, and they have to take advantage of the extra man that they have. We haven't really seen them create too many clear goal-scoring opportunities, as we just saw from the highlights. There's one chance from a pretty acute angle that you wouldn't expect winning to score from, and besides that, they've not created too many opportunities to put the ball into the back of the net. So far, it's been a fairly calm night for CR Hart, but I think the second half is going to heat up for both sides. I don't think Hartford can defend for the whole second half. If they're going to go for more goals, it's going to open up them. It's going to leave spaces behind. So it's really going to be interesting to see the approach from both teams. But I think from a Rhode Island, we're definitely going to see a change of intensity, a change of focus, more direct. I think we're definitely going to see CR Hart pulled into action on more occasions.
And again, if Rhode Island do not win the game, they would finish in second on 9 points. But because of how many goals they've scored in the group and those 9 points in general, that could still be enough to get Conno Smith's side in as one of the 2 wildcard teams, but still have to wait and see how the other results play out around the groups as the night progresses. Teams will switch sides at the start of the second half. Rhode Island in their new white kits, the Sport Wave white kits. They're debuting tonight. They'll go from left to right, up a man, but down a goal in the derby as the second half in the Jaeger Cup commences here in Pawtucket, Rhode Island at Centerville Bank Stadium. Again, Sean St. Jacques, Chris Nurse, our entire crew, happy to have you with us. As it stands, Hartford would win the group, and Rhode Island would have to wait it out in one of the 2 potential wild card spots.
I think you already see a small statement of intent from Rhode Island in the second half, even from kickoff. The ball goes back one pass, and you've got 5 Rhode Island players running forward. So I think the focus is definitely on getting the ball forward, getting bodies into the box, creating more goal-scoring opportunities.
See there, Beverly Macangila was sent off for a second yellow card back in the 28th minute. But it was Hartford that really took the onus from there, had a couple of chances, and then TJ Prestis with his first Jaeger Cup goal of the season, his second in all competitions, has Hartford ahead.
You do wonder a little bit how, when you're looking at the height that Rhode Island have defending set pieces, Mabika probably close to 6'5", Williams, Fuson, there's no way he should have had the opportunity to be bicycle kicking the ball at the top of the 6-yard box without one of those guys challenging with their head. So definitely a moment to review there for Rhode Island and how Prestis really had that free strike on goal in the end, albeit a fantastic one from a very difficult position.
Shapiro Thompson tried to fit it through for Clay Holstead. Jackson Lee will reset for Karifa Yao. Remember, Hartford have never beaten Rhode Island. 3 prior meetings, 2 draws, and a Rhode Island win at Burns Stadium in Smithfield last season by 3 goals to 0.
And it was interesting because Brendan Burke described last week's tie as a performance to build upon. He was happy. He described it as shutting Rhode Island down, and it's been similar again tonight. Whether they've shut them down or Rhode Island just haven't been good enough in possession to create is a question for analysis. But as we spoke about, CR Hart hasn't had anything really dangerous to do with so far in this game, even though for the past 20+ minutes, Hartford have been down a man.
It's over the top looking for Jang, who's well covered. Holstead back for Karifa Yao.
With what we describe, which looks like a 5-3-1 for Hartford, the spaces in the pockets in the wide areas in that midfield area. But they have to find the players who are intentional in the spaces they're occupying, and they have to be patient and stay there.
This ricochets for Amos Shapiro-Thompson on this near side. Now Holstead. Fuson, little dink over the top. Ibarra was harried ever so slightly and does keep the ball in for Rhode Island. Shapiro-Thompson is on the edge of the area and he scores! A wonderful goal! That's a fabulous equalizer from Amos Shapiro-Thompson. Rhode Island are back on level terms, and they're back on top of the group.
Fantastic start to the second half here from Rhode Island. Getting themselves on the score sheet in the first 5 minutes. A fantastic worked goal. It's Ibarra who kicks this ball in play when it looks like it was going out. A little flick to Thompson, and he does all the magic here. His left foot bends it into the side netting. Siaha is silenced on this occasion. He doesn't even dive. He's not getting close to that one. And Rhode Island have got themselves back into the driver's seat. Level pegged in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Now can they go on and get the go-ahead goal?
Amos Shapiro-Thompson, who's had some good moments in a Rhode Island shirt, but that's his first goal for Rhode Island in all competitions. What a time to get it. And there is the Rhode Island response in the derby, 1-1.
Yeah, having that man advantage, you can afford to have, and playing.
Jang was in the middle there. Rhode Island haven't quite cleared it. Hairston to the edge of the area. It slides through Sebastian Anderson. Oh! Had so much time and space. He completely misses the target. Rhode Island were looking for a flag. That is a gigantic miss.
It was poor defending for Anderson to find himself alone in that space in the first place. But then it was also poor finishing. If you look at this, it's great positioning from Anderson, great first touch. And he really should have put his team 2-1 in the lead in that occasion. As we spoke about, Hartford haven't had a problem creating chances this season. It's been converting. And they've converted the harder one. The bicycle kick from the corner and the top of the 6-yard box was the harder one. The easier one that Anderson's created himself, he's put it wide of the frame, and an absolutely massive moment for his team there. When the momentum seemed to be shifting in favor of Rhode Island, getting themselves back on the score sheet in the early stages of the second half, Anderson had a fantastic opportunity to give Hartford the lead once again, and unfortunately saw it go wide of the upright.
Capelli sport goal from Amos Shapiro-Thompson has Rhode Island right back in it.
But why I say it was poor defending is because the line steps up, but they don't step up collectively, which is why the linesman doesn't put his flag up for Anderson being offside. Then Anderson, in a fantastic opportunity to just control and finish, does fantastic with the control, but maybe not so well with the finish. And there was good and bad aspects from both teams in that moment.
It did look like it was Rio Hope Gunn who kept Anderson offside, at least from the one look that we saw. Either way, Anderson with a huge miss. He stands over this set piece, though, as the 10 men of Hartford try to regain their lead. Samadi is over it as well. Will be Anderson, who's fizzed in there. Could still be a chance on here for Hartford. Dees Pay gonna get to the byline here, cross into the middle, headed away by Karifa Yao. Not only as far as Jimenez. Jimenez is double parked here and commits a foul. Rhode Island free kick. Gives us time to tell you that High Noon's quality is second to none, formulated with real spirits, juice, and iced tea, no added sugar and natural flavors. It's the perfect drink for any occasion.
So this does change things in the standings and the advancements. Once again, we're going to be on a roller coaster here for the next 45 minutes. With Rhode Island getting this goal, it does now put Detroit back into contention of having an opportunity to advance to the next phase.
And you saw there, as it stands, Detroit would still be out, but one more Rhode Island goal, and Detroit would have a chance at that second wild card. if they hold on to their lead in Westchester. At the moment, they're still up by a goal to nil. And of course, still a lot of time left in both games. Chance here for Hartford. Jang trying to cut it back. Mabika does well defensively, but then gives the ball away. Jimenez getting it back. A first-time cross is fielded by Lee off the bounce. Well, Maven's Deli, of course, always have the perfect pass with their corned beef on rye, their kugels as well. And at Maven's, they play to win. The flavors that score every time.
Of course, any tied games after regulation will go to penalty kicks, and if any teams in the group stage are tied on points.
Oh, Holstead in here. Oh, across the face of goal. Anderson in front of Quizera. Out for a Chick-fil-A Attleboro corner for Rhode Island.
Good play again here from Rhode Island. Just needed to be higher. Needed Quizera at the back post here to be higher earlier, because look at the back post, it's completely wide open for anybody making a tap in, because Quizera is still positioned so wide from the goal frame. Unfortunately, there's no one there to tap the ball into the back of the net, but it's a great ball across the box there from Holstead.
Ibarra's delivery. And immediately the whistle goes, barely before the ball left his foot. Siaha did claim it. Either way, it's a Hartford free kick, and Rhode Island aren't exactly going to let Siaha go back to take it cleanly here. Farrell pushes Mabika, and our first Siaha spotlight of the night. Farrell trying to defend his goalkeeper here. Referee's doing a good job just keeping an eye on as many people as possible.
Yeah, and I think this is where the captains have to get involved here, because if they're smart, they've already seen one player's already been sent off in today's game. If the players aren't smart with their emotions, they'll easily see another one, especially for Rhode Island, who have the man advantage. Sometimes referees look to even things up as things go along, so they just need to be smart, Rhode Island. You already have the man advantage.
We'll get the luxury of another look. You tell me, Chris, where was the foul?
Siaha becomes the center of attention, but the foul was actually Williams. It was between Williams and whoever was marking Williams, and you can see a little bit of taunting there on Siaha, players pulling his jersey, surrounding him, trying to get into his head and frustrate him.
Oh, and that was a late challenge from Clay Holstead. And it's just gonna be a yellow.
Justified, I think that's a justified yellow card, and as we just spoke about, Rhode Island have the advantage. So the last thing they want to do is put themselves in a situation where the referee can now even things up. It's a strong tackle from Holstead. Is late, he doesn't get much of the ball. The referee rightfully puts him into the box, but I don't think it's a foul or a tackle that he needs to make.
So Holstead is booked. Hartford get a free kick in a pretty good spot here.
Rhode Island now have 2 players on yellow cards, and now it becomes a question for the coaching staff. Do you gamble that those players have the intelligence and the composure not to pick up a second yellow card, or do you make a decision, calculate risk, and maybe swap them out for somebody else to come in fresh?
Samadia and Anderson. Samadia tries to squeeze it through. Oh, and he did squeeze it through. But Ingalina didn't fully commit to the run. Not sure he would have gotten there anyway, but it was clever. It doesn't come off.
Unique set piece, but just didn't quite work out. Maybe it needed a little bit more space for Ingalina to be able to sprint forward onto that ball. Maybe a little bit tight to execute that set piece, but good creative ideas there from Hartford in the attack.
Here is Hope Gund, who came in for the injured Nodarse in the first half. Lee's pass puts Mabika in a tight spot. Bacharach has to come back and help. And Mabika just shovels it out of play.
Yeah, Mabika not naturally being left-footed, operating on the left-hand side of that big back three. Just puts him in a little bit of danger sometimes. If Hartford are smart about how they pressure him and how they close down, it can create some issues there.
Anderson's throw. It's flicked on towards Prestis. Ingalina took a swipe at it. He goes down. Referee waves no penalty. Tells Ingalina to get back up. Well, Brendan Brooks got both of his arms up, saying that should have been a penalty.
I don't think that was the worst claim from Ingalina there. I think another referee may have given the call. He manages to keep play alive. It's kind of ricocheting inside the box, and it falls to the feet of Ingalina. And Williams does just collide with him without getting in contact on the ball. Again, it would be a harsh penalty kick to give, but they definitely can be given in those circumstances, especially with the intensity that Williams comes in at, and he doesn't make any contact with the ball.
And there's no VAR. The referee deemed there was not enough Williams contact to give it.
But again, Hartford, despite being down a man, are still finding ways to create and be efficient in and around the attacking third. They're not being pinned back in a low block whatsoever. They're still finding ways to get themselves forward.
Approaching the hour mark in Pawtucket. Anderson to take. And it was flicked on, and it goes out of play, and it's a goal kick. Do you have a game plan to pay for college? If not, check with RISLA, a local expert on preparing, planning, and paying for college. Go to RISLA.com to find out more. Goal from Amos Shapiro-Thompson, his first for the club, has given Rhode Island parity here, and at the moment, they're back at the top of the group. And for now, Hartford are in second. That is going to be a foul and a free kick for Hartford in the middle of the center circle here. So meanwhile, Rhode Island are getting set to make two changes here. We are going to see Maxi Rodriguez come on for Hugo Bacharach. And that is going to be the end of the night for J.J. Williams, as he'll be replaced by Albert Dequa. First change was made there. Williams just left the field, and Dequa is out there. Number 10 in white.
As we've spoken about, the statistics have been in favor of winning more games when Williams on the field than when he's off, but Dequa also provides a different dynamic to the attack for Rhode Island. Has the ability to run in behind, a little bit more dynamic into spaces. It's going to be interesting to see how the tactics adapt, because when Williams is on, they play direct into his chest, a big body, a big aerial presence. Dequa's a little bit different in the way he attacks from the front.
By the way, to back up your claim, Rhode Island have never lost in a game that J.J. Williams has either scored or assisted in his Rhode Island career. Siaha's ball forward gives Hartford a throw-in opportunity. Anderson tends to be the long throw specialist. And it will go towards the penalty area here. It was flicked on. Rodriguez clears it away for Rhode Island. And Hartford have to deal with the bounce here. At the back, they do. There's a Hartford player down inside the area. Play continues for now. It's played forward by Jimenez. Dink over the top by Jang, trying to find Ingalina. Quizera will clear it for Rhode Island. And finally, the play is stopped by the referee.
And of course, unless it is a head injury, the referee doesn't have to stop play immediately if a player is down injured.
Adrian Dees-Pay is the player who's down.
Just lands heavy there. Probably winded more than anything.
Hartford have not made any changes yet, and I should add that Brendan Burke only has 6 bench players with him tonight. One of them is Justin DiCarlo, who's a backup goalkeeper. So the 5 outfield players he has are the only ones he can bring on at this particular point.
And I think he highlighted that he doesn't necessarily have the depth in his roster as some of the stronger teams or some of the larger supported teams across the league. So it'll be no surprise to see this group of players have to stay on the field longer. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad team. I think now that teams are allowed to have 5 substitutions a game, I actually think it disrupts things in terms of tactics, in terms of fluidity and chemistry. I think in second half, we often see many games where so many new players come in that the chemistry and the rhythm of the game completely changes, and it just becomes completely transitional and second balls and just a little bit ad hoc rather than actually being strategic in their place. So I think having the same 11 out there for the majority of the game and only making a couple of strategic changes based upon maybe performance or injury could be more advantageous to Hartford than having 5 substitutions and having a completely disjointed second half performance.
Joey Farrell booked for bringing down Noah Fuson. It's a Rhode Island free kick. Hartford have to get back in defense here, down to 10. At the moment, we would go to penalties, which would confirm a group win for Rhode Island, and Hartford would need to win the shootout to give themselves the best chance to finish in second and grab one of the 2 wild card spots for teams that do finish in second place.
Williams is obviously off the field now, who was obviously the main target man from these set-piece deliveries, but you can already see Mabika towers above everybody else. It's going to be interesting if he becomes the focal point of these set-piece deliveries now.
Ibarra takes it short for Quizera, who fizzes it across for Rodriguez. Oh, and on the follow-up, Rio Hope gunned. Had it touched off his boot.
Another well-worked set-piece from the training ground, but looked like Rodriguez just took one pass too many there. Looks like he had the opportunity to put it on frame himself, but he looked for the extra pass. And unfortunately, it didn't end up testing Sioha in the end, but up until that point, it looked like a well-worked set-piece.
Fuson unable to link up with a teammate. This is Anderson for Hartford, and there's a player down for Hartford in the middle. Now Galina gets back up. He was looking for a call, did not get it. And then it slips underneath the boot of Prestis to give it back to Rhode Island. Mabika for Quizera. Quizera tiptoeing the sideline, and in the end, Jimenez gets the ball away. Hairston cleared by Farrell.
Just a little bit rushed there from Farrell, just clears it back to the other team in a moment where Hartford were actually doing well at putting the ball down and connecting a few passes.
Shapiro Thompson emerges with possession for Rhode Island here. He cuts onto his left, now onto his right, tries to fizz it across for Fuson and nearly fell for Dikwa. But Siaha slides in. Jang tried to slide it past Mabika and was fouled. Free kick for Hartford. Whether you're headed to work, school, or game day, RIPTA gets you there with statewide service and easy trip planning. Transit's never been simpler. RIPTA.com and plan your ride. He's still a Hartford player down at the end of all of that. Jang won the free kick. Needs a moment for Hartford.
Correct me if I'm wrong, sure, because I just saw a table that got me a little confused. Right now, the teams advancing would be Rhode Island and Detroit. If the tiebreaker for joint points becomes goals scored, I'm not sure how this table has Detroit ahead of Hartford right now.
Well, it is Hartford at the moment who are in second. That is because of the goal scored tiebreaker. But again, if Rhode Island were to score another, that would put Detroit in second place. That's still a big if, though. The 10 men of Hartford still have work to do here. Again, that would also potentially not put Detroit through. There's still other groups and other games that still have to be played later on tonight where Detroit could be usurped in that scenario. That's why Hartford really don't want to lose this game in the 90 minutes, because they would potentially be usurped if they cannot put any points on the board tonight.
Yeah, currently Detroit have 6 goals scored and Hartford have 8 goals scored. So Hartford are leading for sure on goals scored. In terms of goal differential, Hartford are +3, Detroit are on 0. So everything right now is in favor of Hartford to stay in second position, with both Detroit and Hartford currently tied on 8 points.
And in the other game going on in the group, Detroit still have a 1-0 lead over Westchester on ESPN2. That's still worth keeping an eye on, pending how this game plays out. Anderson out wide. A little push and a chase to the byline, and not the best of crosses in the end. And Galina sprays it out of play.
Of course, if Hartford are able to pull off a draw here, being down to 10 men, they would see that as much more than just a advancement to the next round. They would see that as a statement in this rivalry. They would see it as a statement in this matchup. They'd probably see themselves as the superior team when they're looking at a comparison of two, given that they're at a disadvantage, given the depth of their roster. If you compare infrastructure, they feel maybe they're a little disadvantaged. And if they're able to come away with anything being down a man against this team from Rhode Island, I think they'll take it as a double plus. And as we spoke about, sometimes these moments can be pivotal in changing the trajectory of a team season and really galvanizing the group together.
Rio Hope guns up ahead for Maxi Rodriguez.
Oh, that's not good for either of those two.
And Rodriguez's challenge was mistimed. Hartford take exception to that. The referee, well, he went to his pocket here. Both players didn't seem to get that challenge right.
What's interesting, he's really being patient before he makes his decision of what he plans to do.
It's a Rodriguez yellow card.
Both players go to ground here with their studs up. It could be either way. I think Rodriguez gets the yellow card because he's able to get up to his feet quicker, but he could have easily been on the receiving end also. I think both players went in exactly the same way.
Well, and this is where the referee, Brandon Stevis, has to keep his comments. Well, plenty of Hartford players were asking for a different color card there. They're still asking.
We're just interested to see it one more time to see who gets connection with the ball.
Jang and Brandon Stevis shake it out with a handshake. Remember, again, just to be very clear, there's no VAR. So the referee has to go with the on-field decision that he's made. We, on the other hand, of course, are lucky enough to get a second look at it.
We do see that Hairston gets connection with the ball before Rodriguez. So that could be the reason why Rodriguez is the one that ends up getting the yellow card. He doesn't necessarily get much connection on the ball until it ricochets from Hairston touching it first.
Meanwhile, Hairston is still feeling the after effects, and he goes down away from the play. That will not be very happy from the Rhode Island point of view there. We're told that Hartford are preparing a change or two. Hairston is still barking at the referee. I'm not exactly sure why. The card came out. Hairston is incensed. I can't imagine at this point why.
As I said, both players challenged for the ball in a similar fashion. It just happens Hairston was on the receiving end more than the giving end. Rodriguez was able to get back to his feet fairly quickly, and it looks like Hairston is still suffering repercussions of that challenge.
Hairston is being helped off. This will only add some tense moments to what's already been a tense El Clamico rematch.
Be interesting to see if he's able to run it off or if he's going to be one of these upcoming substitutions.
Yeah, will Brandon Burke maybe have to make a change to his change here? Have to wait and see on that. Hairston is still trying to plead his case to let him back out onto the field. It's off camera, of course. And he will jog back on. And that is why the Rhode Island fans are not exactly happy. And well, now he's going to have to come back off because the referee did not wave him on. The time wasting continues here.
Which becomes a yellow card. Match officials creating a little bit of confusion here.
Yeah, this is something, we just said it. The referees also have to keep their calm and poise here down the stretch. Because Hairston did not enter through the middle of the halfway line, he's told to come back off again, and more time comes off the clock. Now he's allowed to re-enter. It is a Rhode Island throw. There's more confusion here. Now, Hairston is getting back into the face of the referee. Again, completely unnecessary. And now there's going to be some changes for Rhode Island as we see Joe Brito and Aldair Sanchez coming in. Looks like Quizera is going to come out.
Aldair Sanchez. Exiting the matches, number 12, Clay Holstead, and number 17, Joe Jaya.
Holstead is out as well. So Holstead and Quizera out, Sanchez and Brito in.
Yeah, I think of the players for Rhode Island who currently sit on a yellow card, Fusion and Holstead. Holstead's probably been removed. Seeing the tempo or the temperature of the field right now, probably a smart decision from the Rhode Island coaching staff to try and eliminate themselves from receiving a red card by taking off players who they think may be liable to receive that second yellow.
Fuson out to the far side for Sanchez's first touch. Oh, clever from Shapiro Thompson. Get past the Samadia challenge, he slides it through. Albert Dequa is brought down. Referee says yes, it's a penalty for Rhode Island. Hartford cannot believe the decision. It's a Rhode Island spot kick, and the visitors are beside themselves here surrounding the referee. And a yellow card for Siaha for protesting. He was booked here last week. He was not booked for his antics after full time. He sees a yellow card, and Hartford cannot believe the decision here.
It's a great run from Dequa here. And there's a little shoulder, there's a little lunge for the ball. I don't think Display gets connection with the ball. We'll see from better angle here. He lunges in here. He doesn't touch the ball. It's rightfully a penalty kick, albeit we've seen them given, we've seen them not given, but it's not great defending here from Display on this occasion. and the referee decided there was enough contact, there's a penalty kick. I think on reflection, when he sees it, I don't think he'll have much to complain about, really.
Well, Siaha's case was that it was shoulder to shoulder. Our replay would tell you that there was a lot more to it than that.
And that's the difference. If you put that kind of force onto JJ Williams, probably stays on his feet. You may even end up bouncing off him. If you put that force onto a forward like Decoy, a little bit quicker, a little bit lighter, he's more likely to go to ground, as we see on this occasion. Rhode Island have the opportunity now to put themselves in the lead, and we'll talk about the repercussions of that after we see if Siaha is able to keep this out the back of his net.
Yes, Siaha's going to take center stage again. Maxi Rodriguez, who scored the winning penalty in Rhode Island's first ever win here at Centerville Bank Stadium in stoppage time against North Carolina earlier this season. He goes head-to-head with Siaha and scores past Siaha. Maxi Rodriguez is the man for the big moment again. Rhode Island had turned it around in the derby. They lead by 2-1.
So we'll get a look here. It's a great ball in behind, a good run from Decoy. There's not really any need to lunge in that situation. Decoy's already going away from goal. You already had the advantage. You're not going to cross the ball, just patient defending, and it's a great finish from Rodriguez. Sends Siaha the wrong way. We're opened up for a very, very intriguing final 15 minutes of this game, but I'll let you elaborate on how that changes the standings, Sean, for Rhode Island, Hartford, and also Detroit.
That goal puts Rhode Island firmly into first place in the group. It also, potentially, if it stands, could knock Hartford out of the Jaeger Cup if Detroit can hold on at home. There's still 10 minutes to go.
Detroit are up 2-0. So you envision Detroit up 2-0. The goals for scenario is rapidly changing. There's only a one goal difference in that now. Hartford, 79th minute. We're about to be in a position where they could advance to the next round. 80th minute, they're now no longer in a position to advance to the next round. This is giving heart palpitations to the strongest of us. I think these next 10 minutes are about to be exciting from all angles across.
A Capelli sport goal for Maxi Rodriguez. Hartford finally made that change. Hairston out and Junior Moreira on for Hartford Athletic. Hartford now at the moment have to get an equalizer or they would be out. No questions asked.
Yep. Instructions from Brendan Burke from Hartford now have to be foot to the middle. They have to go guns out. They have to go guns blazing. They have to open themselves up. They have to try and get on the score sheet within the next 10, I would say additional time, 15 minutes. They can't hold anything back now. And I'm sure they've already been told the scenario, what's happening in Detroit, and they're aware that right now, if things stay as they are, they would not be advancing.
Again, it's not a guarantee that Detroit would go through. I should mention that as well. There's still other games to be played. But what we would know at the moment is that Hartford would be out if they cannot equalize here. And the 10 men put it into the area. Farrell's header was blocked. Rhode Island bring it up the other end. Jimenez heads it back. Shapiro Thompson tries to close down Siaha, who does clear it upfield. Farrell is close to this here. Deespay knocks it down. It doesn't matter. The offside flag is up. Free kick for Rhode Island. So we tell you that Miller Lite is a proud sponsor of RIFC. When it's game time, it's Miller time. There's the official update on the Detroit-Westchester game. Devin Amu-Mensah makes it 2-0 Detroit over on ESPN2. If these results hold, Rhode Island will advance as the Group 4 winners. Detroit still have a chance for that wild card spot in second place. Hartford would be out. There is, of course, still time left, and Hartford need at least the one. If they get the one, they'll still have a chance.
Again, Kenneth Smith mentioned earlier in the week, it's a cup competition. It's about advancing. It's about keeping your name in the hat for the next round. And so far, Rhode Island have done a decent job at ensuring that objective is accomplished and achieved.
Jang. Playing it across for Dees-Pay, who scores for Hartford. What about it? Adrian Dees-Pay has rescued Hartford Athletic here. 2-2. And just like that, Detroit could be out, and Hartford could still be very much alive. An incredible response from the 10 men from Connecticut. 2 each.
And now the spanner thrown into the works, and it's Dees-Pay way up the field here. He was actually the player who gave away the penalty kick, but credit to him for finding himself in probably territory that he's not in too often to be the one to finish play here. And it's a striker's finish. He's not just smashed it or thrashed it. He's actually opened up his hips calmly and placed this past Lee in goal to get his team back on level pegging. This goal could absolutely be massive for Hartford in around 10 minutes' time.
It's Adrian Dees-Pay's first goal for Hartford. What a time to get it. And the 10 men are back on terms again. Now up the other end, Rodriguez. Can't take your eyes off it here.
And you have to give Dees-Pay credit. He felt that he was hard done by the penalty that's given against him. He's given away a penalty. His team is down to 10 men. His reaction to that is to make a run up into the 18-yard box of his opponent and finish off a play for his team. So you really have to credit his character. There's many players there in the circumstance that Hartford find themselves in now that will drop their head, drop their work rate, start to blame the referee, start to blame everything that's going against them on the pitch. But Dees-Pay took the matters into his own hand, impacted the things that he could, which is his quality inside the box, making the run forward, finishing the play, gets the goal.
Chick-fil-A Attleboro corner headed down towards the 6-yard box. Another penalty shout from the Rhode Island fans here, not given. Mabika towards Rodriguez. Ibarra picks up the pieces. Amos Shapiro-Thompson clipping one in. Siaha commits and collects. 5 minutes plus stoppage time left, and Siaha tries to time waste here, as does Dees-Pay. At least in the eyes of the Rhode Island fans, that is.
Yeah, I hope they're legitimately injured, because this time wasting it's not effective anymore, because the referee stopped the clock and you see 15 minutes of additional time. So it actually plays into the opponent's hands. It actually has no advantage for teams when they try to time waste in these. In the old days, maybe it was a little more effective. In the modern game, it doesn't have any impact at all, because every second is added on at the end of the game. We just see large portions of additional time.
Hartford make a change here. Jonathan Jimenez is out. Kyle Edwards, who is actually Hartford's leading goal scorer in the league this season, is going to come in to try to be a late hero.
Yeah, you could only envision that he must be carrying some sort of injury or wasn't able to train fully this week, or why he didn't start the game. But it's definitely a player that can give you something for 10 minutes towards the end of the game, potentially an opportunity to get the go-ahead goal, but anything can happen in these next 10 minutes. We've seen it all.
Well, what do they say in the movie industry? The sequel never is better than the original. Could not be further from the truth here tonight. This is clipped in behind here. Lee is going to collect just ahead of Jang.
Rhode Island will definitely be kicking themselves. They haven't played fantastic tonight, but they were finding a way to get themselves back in the game. Got a quick goal just after half-time. They then found a way to get the go-ahead goal, and then within 5 minutes of going in the lead, they give up an opportunity to allow Hartford to equalize with just 10 men. That's going to be really disappointing for Cano Smith's men, that they conceded a goal when the opponents had just 10 men on the field. Shapiro just taking control of the game again.
Shapiro-Thompson trying to cut it back there, running out of room. Hartford goal kick. 3 minutes of normal time left. Siaha sends it ahead. It is headed square towards Rodriguez. Brito up ahead, and Hartford will clear it. Sanchez out of play. Hartford throw. Again, as it stands now, Rhode Island would still win the group. We would go to penalties, and Hartford would really do themselves a favor if they could win that shootout, because that could potentially be that additional point that would get them through as a wild card team on 9 points, and Detroit would be out. We'll have to wait and see how. Of course, the last 2 minutes, and we expect a decent amount of stoppage time on the back end of that.
Detroit currently have 7 goals for, Hartford have 9 goals for. Goal differential, Detroit +1, Hartford +3. So right now, Hartford are still having that advantage over Detroit. However, if Detroit were to score a couple more goals, they're currently leading 2-0. If they end up leading 4-0, that does complicate things a little bit further.
Anderson's long throw. It's a cushioned header. Mabika, Prestis. And it's eventually cleared away by Karifa Yao. Hartford trying to get the ball back towards the edge of the area. Ingalina gives chase and is shepherded away by Rio Hope Gunn. Goal kick as we're into the 90th minute.
You really do have to give Hartford a little bit of credit, because unless you were...
Ooh, Lee!
Unless you were with us from the beginning and you were just watching the game openly, you wouldn't really be able to tell that Hartford are down a man in tonight's fixture.
I want to know the secret to business that lasts? It's your people. Tap into your people power with Insperity, Trailblazers in Human Resources, because HR matters. Jackson Lee controls it for Rhode Island. This is Maxi Rodriguez under some heavy Hartford pressure. He does get it ahead to Brito. Back for Rodriguez, who swings through it and tries to play it towards Fuson. Siaha clears it away, but Rhode Island do win the ball back quickly here. See how much stoppage time is added on as Rhode Island again bring the ball forward. Cross into the middle looking for Dequa, headed away by Farrell. Brito back down the line. Prestis is going to come up with it for Hartford. 5 added minutes still to play as Hartford clear it.
Indicated 5 minutes of stoppage time. Presented by Automated Business Solutions.
Lee plays it out to the far side for Maxi Rodriguez, who clips it forward, again looking for Dequa, and Dequa goes down again. Referee says nothing doing. We play on. Mabika ends up winning the header. Rodriguez forward.
Yeah, I'm not too sure there's many players on the pitch that you'd expect to win a header against Mabika, so Hartford may just need to redirect who they send those long balls forward to, and their percentages or chances of winning, unless they're going to be very good at winning that second ball.
Shapiro Thompson on the near side. His cross into the middle is flicked away, only as far as Karifa Yao. Rodriguez keeps it going. Shapiro Thompson clips it into the middle. The header is right down the middle for Siaha. Oh, Karifa Yao stayed forward and was able to get his head to it here as Lee gets his head to that. Near side Ingalina. And it's last off of Hartford. Rhode Island throw.
You wonder why Ingalina slowed down when he got that ball back there. So many Rhode Island players were out of the game. Slowed it down and gave him a chance to get back, and
touched it behind here, Brito! Second best. But the offside flag was up. Moot point, Hartford, free kick. Siaha will send this forward eventually. 3 added minutes to go. It's been a heart stopper of a derby rematch here in Jaeger Cup play. Could still end with both teams going through at the end of the night. That's still possible. There's still time left to decide who wins the derby this time. Sanchez for Fuson. It won't get to him. Dispay, the hero of the hour, clears it away.
I think there's a couple statements in this derby. Rhode Island announcing themselves, we're here. But there's also Hartford on the other side saying, hey, we acknowledge that, but we're not about to roll over and just let you take over. I think there's a strong, strong rivalry that's going to continue to grow over time between these two. Not just territorially, but also in the performances on the pitch.
Here's Hope Gund. Rodriguez tried to slide that through. Prestes clears it. Rodriguez follows up and committed a foul. Hartford free kick. Eventually Jang, who has been dealing with a bit of an issue as the half has moved on, is able to run this off at least for now. Another Siaha free kick to take. Again, if you're Detroit at the moment, you're hoping Rhode Island could get one more goal across. Jang wins the header. It's played forward, and the referee will stop the play here. It's going to be a drop ball. It hit the referee. Farrell sends it up ahead. Edwards is going to get there for Hartford, and his cross is deflected out for a corner in the final seconds.
No bad ball in behind there from Farrell. Of course, the first goal in this game came from a corner kick. Could this be a big moment for Hartford? Possibly the last kick of the game.
We'll have to see, because there have been some potential moments where the referee could add more time on here. It certainly will be the last act of the scheduled amount of stoppage time. Can the 10 men of Hartford steal all the points? Samania's ball in is headed away, out for another Hartford corner. And if it does hold, we would still go to a penalty kick shootout to decide who gets 2 points and who gets just the 1. Samania again. Towards Jackson Lee, who makes the catch. And that is the last act of the derby. 2-2 is the final score. Rhode Island wins the group, just barely. Hartford are still very much in the mix, pending this shootout, and Detroit City are out as it stands.
Do not leave your seats. Based on Jägermeister Cup rules, we will now enter penalty kicks.
Well, officially, of course, that also means that Hartford's wait for a win over Rhode Island goes on. They would certainly love to beat them here on penalties and give themselves a very, very good chance of still progressing in the Jaeger Cup as a second-place team. And if Hartford win the shootout here, they would get to 9 points, which is really, really good positioning for them moving forward. If they don't, they'll still be on 8, which is pretty good, but multiple teams could still potentially catch them pending results later on tonight. So Hartford might have to stream some ESPN Plus action if they lose the shootout. Rhode Island know they're through. That is now confirmed. Rhode Island have won the group. They're automatically on to the quarterfinals. They will host a quarterfinal here as well. But of course, they'll want nothing more than to send Hartford home with a shootout loss here as well. And as maybe it was destined to be, Chris, we will see Jackson Lee and we will see plenty of Anthony Siaha, who of course has already faced one penalty tonight.
And Detroit doing everything they can on the other side, winning 3-0 right now. We spoke about goals for being the next defining factor. They're up 3-0 already, trying to push.
That would make this shootout even more important for Hartford to win if Detroit can grab one or two more against Westchester. The other thing, too, to mention is that Rhode Island did use all 5 of their changes. Hartford only used 2, so will the legs be a little bit fresher amongst the Rhode Island players? I guess it'll depend on who takes the penalties. And then Jackson Lee. Can he step up in a big moment here for Rhode Island? Hasn't had many of these opportunities yet. He's a Rhode Island player in his career. And again, will Anthony Siaha gain an advantage, particularly if he has to face Maxi Rodriguez a second time? All questions that will be answered in a few moments. One thing we can say is that 90 minutes are more than likely the best we've seen in this Derby's young history. It will all be capped off by the penalties, and one of the questions will be answered right away. Maxi Rodriguez is going to take first here for Rhode Island. So these two are going to lock horns again after Maxi scored against Siaha in the 90 minutes. Maxi Rodriguez has faced multiple pressure-packed penalties in his first season with Rhode Island. He has scored them all so far. He'll hope to be the pace setter in this Jägermeister Cup shootout. Rodriguez and Siaha again. And Rodriguez scores again. Rhode Island lead, Hartford are next.
Well placed here from Rodriguez. Goalkeepers really dive towards their top corners. So if you have the accuracy and the composure and the quality to place it into the top corners, more often than not, you're going to score. But obviously, it's a much harder skill to go high and accurate than to go low and hard in the corners.
Well, next up for Hartford, their first penalty, it'll be Joey Farrell.
Interesting to send a defender up to take your first PK.
Has an assist in this game tonight. Looks like it's going to be a pretty long run-up for Farrell as well, going up against Jackson Lee. Centerville Bank Stadium shaking at the moment. And Farrell converts his penalty. 1-1 on to round 2.
With that level of composure, it's no surprise that he's the first one up. You can see even after the referee blows his whistle, he doesn't rush to take it. He's calm and composed. Slots it into the side netting, sending Lee the wrong direction. Great penalty there from Farrell.
Round 2. It'll be last season's Golden Playmaker of the Year, Noah Fuson, who will take next for Rhode Island. Siaha chit-chatting with him at the moment, trying to put him off. Fuson against Siaha in round 2. And Fuson buries it. 2-1 Rhode Island, with Hartford up next.
No love lost here between Fuson and Siaha, staring each other down after the ball's in the back of the net. Fuson sends Siaha the wrong way. Fantastic penalty kick.
Well, next up for Hartford, their hero from the 90 minutes, Adrian Dees-Pay. Scored his first goal for the club to get Hartford the point to get us to this shootout. Can he convert his penalty? Yes, he can. No problems. 2-2 on to round 3.
Been a really good display of penalty kicks so far. I thought his run-up was a little bit short, but he does well here. Sends Lee the wrong direction and into the side netting.
Shooting third for Rhode Island FC is number 23, Mark.
Next up for Rhode Island is the experienced Mark Ibarra. Was on set piece duty for a vast majority of tonight's proceedings. Can he convert? Past Siaha. Oh, it hit off the bar! Ibarra misses his penalty. And Hartford have the chance to grab the advantage.
Really strange penalty quick. Siaha doesn't even dive to either side. He kind of stays central, and the run-up is central, and then straight down the middle onto the crossbar. It's not Ibarra's best penalty kick. Gives Hartford the advantage right now.
Mamadou Jang, Hartford's number 9, is up next. If he scores, Hartford gain the advantage going to round 3. Can Jackson Lee keep it tied at 2? Could be a massive moment in the shootout here. Jang scores. Certainly took his time over it, but it's a bullseye for Hartford. They lead through 3 rounds.
Definitely took his time. Again, it comes down to a psychological game that the striker's playing with the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper does well. He actually guesses the right direction, but again, it's when that ball's accurately placed into the top corners, it's really hard for the goalkeepers to get to, because generally they don't dive up, they drive down and to the side. See that Dieng celebration here, enjoying the moment.
Next up for Rhode Island FC is number 10,
Albert Dikwa will take next for Rhode Island. Has certainly converted some big penalties in his career. Can he get Rhode Island back on terms up against Anthony Siaha? Short run up, and Dikwa buries it past Siaha. 3-3. Rhode Island need to get a save.
Dikwa making it clear it's not his first time taking a penalty kick. So much confidence in the approach to striking this ball. Only a short run up, but he knew where he was going and made no mistake. Lifts it high over Siaha. Things are getting tight as we approach the last couple of kicks.
Well, next up, Brendan Burke is going to go to one of his substitutes, his leading goal scorer, Kyle Edwards, who has had big moments for club and, frankly, for country in his career as well, with St. Vincent and the Grenadines in CONCACAF play.
Came into the game very late, and that's not always worked out well when it comes to penalty kicks.
To keep Hartford ahead going into round 5. He does, just past Jackson Lee. Hartford are 4 out of 4 as we head to round 5.
Very close again, but often when the ball finds itself hitting the side netting, it's really difficult for goalkeepers to save those. As you can see, Lee goes the right side, but the penalty kick was just too good. Lee actually gets his hands onto it. It was just too good to keep out the back of the net.
Well, it is match point for Hartford. Rhode Island have to score. They'll go with one of their substitutes, Aldair Sanchez. If he scores, Hartford have to take another penalty. Sanchez against Siaha to keep the shootout alive. Oh, he misses it wide! Hartford win the shootout! And Siaha shushes Centerville Bank Stadium for a second time in a row. Rhode Island still win the group, but Hartford take the shootout bragging rights with them back to Connecticut. With a 4-3 shootout win, it could be the additional point that still takes them through as a wild card team. The best El Clamico to date ends with Hartford glory on Rhode Island turf. What a game. What an ending. Rhode Island still win the group, but it's Hartford who have the last laugh in the derby. We'll take a break and wrap it up next.
You may think the nicest moments happen once you've arrived at your destination. At Breeze, we think they happen all along the way.
Yeah, let me grab that for you.
That was so nice.
Whether you're kicking back in Breeze Ascent or just enjoying time together in family seating, we take creating nice moments seriously, so you're ready for the rest of the journey ahead. When it's all over, the nicest moment might just be planning your next trip. Breeze. Seriously nice.
Progress. It's what we strive for, what we sacrifice for. It's about putting in the work. Early mornings, late nights, all in the pursuit of something greater. It's what moves us forward, what unites us. Because progress is more than a goal. It's the journey, the people who stand beside us, and the right partner. Centerville Bank, the official bank of Rhode Island FC. Progress on purpose.
At Ortho Rhode Island, we've built the future of orthopedic care around an important foundation, you. Our experienced surgeons and specialists offer the full spectrum of orthopedic care with leading-edge treatments and technology and a one-of-a-kind patient experience. From diagnosis to outpatient surgery, physical and occupational therapy, acute injury care, and advanced imaging, we make you the cornerstone of innovative care. To learn more or schedule an appointment, visit orthopedicsri.com.
Well, how was that for an encore for El Clamico here in the Jaeger Cup High Bar Physical Therapy final score? 2-2 is the final score. Rhode Island advance, they win the group. Hartford win the shootout, and they are very likely to advance pending results elsewhere. Sean and Chris here with you. We look back through some of the highlights of the game. Shush here in Pawtucket. This is the standings as they look right now. Detroit are out because Hartford got that additional point from the shootout. So they're up to 9 points, Hartford. They are in very good shape. They're not confirmed yet, Hartford, but they're in very good shape to grab one of the two wild card spots in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, to grab the wild card, but they definitely grabbed the bragging rights in terms of this derby between Hartford and Rhode Island that we can see progressing and only getting bigger over the years. Yeah, you can see the faces on the Rhode Island players. They're pretty disgusted at the celebrations. I'm sure there's a lot more to come from these two.
Well, of course, they meet again in Hartford later this season in USL Championship play. How will that be for an encore after what we saw tonight? Back and forth game, the best El Clamico to date lived up to the hype. 2-2 the final score. Rhode Island advanced to the quarterfinals. Hartford likely to, but have not confirmed it yet. But Hartford take the bragging rights on penalties. For Chris Nurse and our entire crew, Sean St. Jacques saying so long. An epic night, an El Clamico Classico.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.